time a husband and wife duo doing theirs, and then we're gonna do it separately too as well, where we're doing them. Excuse me, we're doing them separate, and then eventually I want to do it to where it's together with the both of them, and kind of ask them questions and their experiences while they were in, and also questions about themselves to see who knows who better. So we're gonna be switching over. Pull up Tony here, and let's get into it. Turn this music off because I don't want to worry about any copyright stuff. So alrighty, and here we go. It's what's up, Tony? How are you doing?
I'm good, boss. Give me
Thanks,
1 second.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. A new format going on with this too. Yeah, it's a now. Are you gonna put more stuff in the background like you had in when you were in Germany?
I am eventually. Give me 1 second.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Play up. Now you're on my stream.
You're all good.
We're good to go.
All right, sweet. There we go. All right. Oh, no.
Jay, thank you so much for the raid, bro. Was this a bad time? No. So what I'm doing? So VOP, can you tell my streamer what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what we're doing today is what I like to call a veteran spotlight. I sit down, talk with veterans about what they did in the military, why they joined, what made them decide to join, and how it impacted their life, and then how they're living life now because of it. So it's just basically to shine a spotlight on veterans for basically going above and beyond and giving up part of their life to basically do something for others. So that's kind of what this is what this is about. So
much love to VOP for starting this up. I was supposed to do this for a minute with him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
What's going on right now is he's gonna do this with me first. Then he's gonna do it with Angelic, and then he's gonna do it with both of us on stream.
Yeah.
He's gonna ask us questions and stuff like that. So stick around if you want to know stuff about Tony, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, I'm VOP Gaming. I'm a Marine. I was in the Marine Corps from 2005 to 2010. So I'm not just a guy playing a guy pretending to be a guy. You know, I've actually been there and done it. So yeah, but it's not about me today. It's about Tony. So let's get into it. So Tony, why so okay, first off, what branch of the military were you in?
Army.
The Army.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's all right, I guess.
That's fair.
I mean, could have been worse, I guess.
It could have been worse.
For sure.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So what made you decide you wanted to join the Army?
So, if we being 100% transparent, I was born and raised in Brooklyn and New York. Basically didn't have enough money. My parents couldn't afford giving me college funds.
Sure.
My parents weren't the most financially stable to be able to do things like that. So when I was in high school, I had to who's a little quiet, Melly? You talking about VOP? I can turn them up for you.
Hey yo, turn my headphones up.
Right.
Yeah.
See if
Uh,
I can get you up.
yeah, I was adjusting audio and stuff too, but
No,
I
you're
think it
good.
turned out
I
pretty.
think I got you right where you need to be. Um, so when I was in high school, it was so crazy. Oh, your camera doing the hoochie coochie right now. Let me get you right. All right, there we go. I think we straight. So when I was in high school, I went to a military high school,
Hmm.
which was really, I wasn't a problem child, but I got into a lot of stuff as I was coming up. So you know what I mean. I got not put into a military high school. It's kind of a choice. So when I actually went into high school, like it's a given that um, they give you like ROTC training immediately. Like you go through the ROTC courses.
Yeah.
After I left my high school, I was working at a contracting company, and I was going to college at the same time. I've already put in like scholarships to colleges like Clemson. I was in South Carolina, so colleges like Clemson, Winthrop, Coastal Carolina University. I had a partial scholarship to go to Coastal Carolina University for like baseball, but they didn't have the degree plan that I wanted.
Mhm.
While I was there working, um, my boss, which I call basically my second father, this man basically pulled me in and told me he's like if you need funds for school, he was like go in the military. Now, granted, my father's a Vietnam vet,
Yeah.
so he already gave me the spiel on what. Yeah, he already gave me the spiel on
Yeah.
what's what, and he told
Mhm.
me he's like if this is something that you want to do, then I'll support it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go in, don't quit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not feeling that. You know them hard ass Vietnam vets.
For sure.
Yeah, they raised in a different time period, so you know they feel a certain type of way about it. Um, so long story short, didn't have enough funds for college. So went to the military.
Mhm.
Nothing so righteous as being patriotic or anything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I would do anything that needed to be done, but my end goal was providing the. I wanted to help out my folks. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Being the first one that's going to college in my family, being the first one that's like doing the things that I was doing outside of high school. So I was just like, I had a, I had a plan, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your own for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Um, all right. So what okay, so when you were deciding you wanted to join the military, what pulled you into the army?
So at first, uh, I went to I went to the Air Force,
Mhm.
and I went to the Air Force recruiting station, and because my father was just like, you'll deal with less bullshit if you go to the Air Force. He was just honest about
Yeah,
it.
for
He's
sure.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll deal with less bullshit if you go to the Air Force. So I went to the Air Force recruiting station, and they told me I would have to be put on a waiting list, even with my ASVAB scores. I had high ASVAB scores, not the GOAT. But I had pretty high ASVAB scores, so I was just like, I would like to, use it and have a job that can actually provide for something on the outside. You know?
Yeah. Mhm.
So when I went in, they told me I would be put on a waiting list, and I was like, I can't afford to be put on a waiting list right now.
Yeah.
Everybody that Navy, same thing. They was on this whole waiting list thing. The only two branches that wasn't on a waiting list was the Army and the Marines and the
Surprise,
Coast Guard. But we don't
surprise.
we don't we don't talk about the Coast Guard,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Only if you're
but
talking to a coastie. Then
but long story short, again, uh, my father was Army. My boss that encouraged me, he was Army. So they know the ins and outs of the Army. I went Army.
yeah.
Um, I was in the Army from 2011, excuse me, until 2017. Yeah.
Oh boy. Just a youngin. Oh
Mhm.
man. Whew. Okay, well that uh so oh, okay, so you got out of high school and then you
Uh-huh.
started going to college, and you were in college in 2010. Is that
2010, yeah. I
20
graduated high
2010?
school 2010 and went straight into college immediately.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
oh boy, jeez. Yeah,
Making you feel some type of way now, huh?
I got out the Marine Corps in 2010. Damn,
Sheesh.
I know. I'd already done. Well, you know what? Wow. Anyways, okay, all right. So, okay, so you decided to go into the army.
Mhm.
What uh do you remember what you were thinking before, like as you were getting ready to go? You know what I mean? Like what was going
Um,
through your, since it wasn't that long ago, what was going through your head when you were
so
like,
honestly, thank you for the follow. But honestly, so when when I originally when I originally like had my recruiter taking me to MEPS,
yeah.
and they made us duck walk. They did all of these physicals, everything else.
Yeah.
When all of this shit was going down,
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, this isn't too bad. I've already done ROTC. It's not too bad yet.
Sure. Yeah.
But when
Yet.
we got to in process, yet when we got
Yeah.
to in process, and they started lining us up and treating us like cattle, like, hey, stand still while I jig you in the arm, and you take this flu shot, you take this shot, you take that shot, and don't fucking look at me. You look forward and all time.
Yeah.
That's when my brain was just like, Tony, what the fuck did we do? You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Like
Yeah,
it
absolutely. Yeah.
it became a it was an eye opening moment. Like, god damn, like they really own me right now
Yeah.
because I signed that piece of paper, and they talk to you. They talk to you not to scare anybody here, but they
Sure.
talk to you like you ain't shit because they gotta break you down
Yeah.
and build you up into what they need.
Of course.
But my first initial thoughts was just like, man, what the fuck did I do? Like, why did I sign that piece of paper? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it was wild.
That moment when you realize uh that you realize the person you are is doesn't mean shit here. That
It
person
don't.
doesn't exist anymore.
No.
That's when you're like
Fucked.
legit, it was like, it was at this moment he knew he fucked up
You
like
fucked
a
up. Yeah,
hundred
like
percent
hmm
when you go to scratch your nose and they're like, I didn't tell you you could touch your face, you're like, oh shit,
oh shit. Like what the
like
fuck did I do?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
um so what do you think the hardest transition was, going from like your, okay, so you're, well, I don't want to say you're a little older because you basically just graduated high school and you did what, a semester, 2 semesters in college, so you're still like what, 8, 19?
I was yeah, like 19 when I joined, yeah.
Okay, so what, like there's not that much of a transition between high school, college into the military, but what was like the hardest problem, like what was the hardest thing to get used to, going from, being a civilian now to being well, I guess a soldier, you know what I mean,
Um
like.
the hardest thing for me would have just been compartmentalizing my time,
Mhm.
making sure that I could still do my college stuff and, be a soldier.
Yeah.
I want to get out right now. But like compartmentalizing my time, making sure that I could get everything done while still, what I mean, making sure that my goals are set for the future.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
this wasn't supposed to be end all be all.
Yeah.
Like you talk to a lot of people want to be career. I
Yeah.
wasn't one of those people that wanted to be career. And then it's not that they make you feel like a shitbag for wanting to be career. It's just like and you not wanting to be like some people who join, they eat shit and breathe that. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I don't
Yep.
mind it. I don't
Yeah.
mind it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if
Yeah.
this is not my end all be all, you can't expect me to fall in line like everybody else. Like I have goals and shit that I want to do when I'm
Yeah.
out. You want
Yeah,
to do
for sure.
20, 30 years. That's not me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That was my mindset and I kept that clear head doing this the whole time I was in. And I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm not about to, what I mean, be put into a box where, because it would, like, I don't know. I've always been not like an individual, but having had my father not say deal with me, but having to have my father as the hard ass that he was.
Yeah.
Um, when I got to basic training, a lot of that shit didn't phase me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, not saying I was a hard ass, but the screaming, being in the military school, having my
Yeah.
father, scream at me, having these other, NCOs or cadres scream at me. I was just like, okay, well, I saw people break down, like
Yeah.
cry, like they want to go home. They
Yeah.
they feign like like mental orders, this issues, just so they can go home. And I was just like, it'd be faster just to get this done instead of trudge
Yeah.
through.
For sure.
And for me, I was just on this whole keep my head down and just
Yeah. Blend in.
push on. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
blend in and push on. I ain't got
Yeah.
time.
So you went, excuse me. You went in with the mindset of this is short term for me.
Yeah.
This isn't like I'm not here long term, whatever. I'm here to get some benefits and kind of, continue on. You're trying to set yourself up, you know, your
Right.
future for success, which not a lot of people do, Um,
It comes from not knowing what Uncle Sam has in place. They won't tell you.
Uncle Sam,
And this
yeah,
is, yeah, they don't tell you,
yeah,
like, and especially when it comes to your education, your benefits, things that you have available, the resources that you have available. They don't
yes,
tell you anything.
yeah. They don't because that comes out of their pocket. Well, they look at it
Exactly.
like it comes out
They
of their
look at it like
pocket,
it comes out of their
but
pocket, but
it doesn't.
it's it doesn't.
Yeah. Um.
That
Yeah. So okay. So for basic, like you said, what was the hardest part then? Because you said the mental stuff, the stress, the strain from um like being yelled at. It wasn't a culture shock to you. So like what? So are you saying it was more of like, was the physical aspect, was that worse? I guess than
the physical aspect was worse for
yeah,
me. And I don't know what it is. Maybe because all I did was I played football and I played baseball while I was in high school.
yeah,
But when I got to basic training, it was almost like a game for them to break soldiers.
yeah,
Like stress fractures up the ass. I had stress fractures in my knees, my shins. I had some
hmm
in my hip. Like they were breaking soldiers, literally to the point where it was like everybody, like multiple people, was on sick call.
yeah,
And I had to go to sick call, and I thought to myself, "Hey, damn, they're gonna rotate me. I'm gonna be back here in basic training again because I can't finish my damn PT test."
hmm
But by the grace of all that is graceful, like I actually fucking passed my PT test,
yeah,
limping across the finish line, like the finish line at the end of it, and by like 12 seconds. And I was
yeah,
just like, okay, cool. You're not gonna rotate me. I don't have to come back here and be yelled at again. I don't care. So when I
hmm
moved on to AIT, I was like, cool, this is good. AIT was for me more like college. It
yeah,
was like college, the first year or semester or whatnot. So
yeah. For sure. I, as someone who I had to go to boot camp twice, I
right.
legit I was in the hospital for 6 months, got released, and then came back. I
Damn.
100% know what that feels like. That fear of like, I had it happen. So like that
Hmm.
fear of like, if I don't get my ass to there in however many minutes I need to, like legit, I got to do this shit again. Like it's a real fear too. Uh, but I feel like that pushes you to better yourself in life. Now that you know, like you're like I can do this because I've done it under pressure before.
Right, and it transfers to my work. It transfers
Mhm.
like it even transfers to working out in the gym.
Yeah, for
Like you
sure.
go a little harder, you go a little harder in the paint because you've already went
Yeah,
extra hard before. So
yeah. I don't know what it is in the army, but in the Marine Corps, it's always one more for chesty puller.
oh, one more.
Yeah, yeah. So you
Gotcha.
always do one more for chesty. So you know what I mean. So I don't know what it is for
Hmm.
the army, but it's the same kind of concept. Is any Marine, if you just say where's chesties, you know exactly they know exactly what you're talking about.
Gotcha.
um, So okay, what was your most memorable moment when you were in basic? That moment that you look back to and you're like, that's hilarious. That was I was terrified, or this was the moment like me and everyone we came together as a team, or like what's that moment where you're like, this was probably the best thing that I remember from basic.
Basic training, there was two.
Yeah.
One, Victory Tower, like rappelling down Victory Tower.
Hmm.
Because I until then I never thought, I didn't know if I was afraid of heights or not. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
going down Victory Tower was a big deal for me.
Hmm.
And then second was Nightfire, when we was all out and they shooting the Bravo above our heads or whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Ooh.
so that was actually pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
was expecting something out of, you know what I mean, the Jarhead movie,
Hmm.
that close.
Yeah.
But for us, it wasn't. Nah, it wasn't that
Yeah.
close. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't do
Yeah.
it that close. It's
It's Hollywood. That's Hollywood
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
Hollywood stuff. Like, for anybody that's wondering, do they shoot at you that close? No, not that close. You still have bullets whizzing above you, but never to that degree.
Yeah.
Like,
Most of that stuff is just stuff pumped through speakers. Because legit, if someone gets hurt, I mean, they for each individual that goes through boot camp or basic, I mean, they're spending 40, 50, 60
they're
grand
spending a
a
lot of money.
person. So they
Yeah,
don't do anything that potentially is gonna kill you. They don't do anything to where they're wasting money. They kind of figure that out. They don't train like they did, back in, I don't even want to say Vietnam, because they needed bodies then too.
they did.
Yeah. Um Now, did you I know some people have gone to like basic or boot camp or something with people they know. Did you know anybody, or was just not a single soul?
Absolutely not a single soul. I was solo dolo when I went out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that was. I made so in processing. I made like three friends while I was in processing,
Yeah.
and what was so crazy is all three of those guys were in my same unit and platoon.
Oh wow.
So it was actually pretty interesting. Like when we all saw each other, we all grouped up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was a nice time for
Yeah,
that
that's
at
what's up.
least.
I when I was in the hospital, I legit was sitting in a chair and this other recruit at the time, he was like, "Hey." And I was like, "Look, don't talk to me. Like we're going to get in trouble." And he's like, "Did you go to this high school?" And I like looked over and I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, you were my teacher's assistant for my PE class." And I
Oh
was like, "What
wow.
the fuck?" I was like, "I don't remember you, but it's crazy. Crazy." Uh
Oh wow.
okay, so after you finished basic and you went to AIT, where was your what was your what was your MOS? What was your
My MOS was a 25 Quebec systems transmissions operator maintainer.
oh
It's crazy. I
boy.
still remember
Hmm.
that. It's crazy. I still remember that.
All right, so where did you end up going to AIT at?
Um, that would be Gordon,
I'm
Fort
not
Gordon.
Fort
Fort
Gordon.
Gordon is
Where's
in, yeah, that's in Georgia.
okay, in Georgia. There's so many forts that I can't keep track of.
Yeah, there's a
There's at
lot.
least 2 or 3 forts per state, probably.
Hmm.
Um,
This is Fort Gordon is basically the Army's signal base. That's when the NSA is. The NSA is there.
hmm,
I believe the CIA is there as well,
oh wow.
and that's where they train all their signal officers and stuff like that.
Okay. Now so what did AIT consist of for you then? Because that seems like a
Yeah,
lot of
no. AIT
lot.
consisted of getting up at 4 a.m.,
Mhm.
going to PT. It's like 4:30. Yeah, 4:45, 4:30. Going to
Mhm.
PT. After going to PT, running back into the building to shower.
Yeah.
After showering, going to the mess hall to actually get food, breakfast,
Yeah.
and then after that, getting back in formation to basically march to class
Mhm.
with the unit. And
Okay.
then after all of that, like um after the day is over, which the day that like I think class started at like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. or some shit like that.
Yeah.
After going to class from 7 or 8 a.m. to like 2 or 3, you
Hmm.
get off about 4 o'clock, and the rest of the day is usually yours.
Hmm.
But I think the rest of the day was yours from about 5 to 6, 7, 8, about 8 or 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then around 9 o'clock it was lights out. Everybody needed to be back in the building. It was
Hmm.
almost like and AIT changes for everybody. Every couple of years they change things because they
Sure.
figure, oh, we're trying to be as you know with the times as possible. When
Hmm.
I went, they no longer had the drill sergeants with the hats. They had cadre, but no drill sergeants with the hats. After I left, however, 3 years after that, I come to find that the drill sergeants were reinstated because they said the cadre wasn't doing good. But the thing is, right?
Yeah.
I never understood the reasoning behind it, and the reasoning behind it is you can't really get any work out of a new trainee that's at AIT or trying to at their MOS school if they're freezing up from seeing the hat.
Hmm.
Like I'm not even gonna flex with you. I've been out for a while. I see people. I'll go on a military post and I'll see that hat,
Yeah.
and immediately like it's I don't know if to call it PTSD or not, but the shit just starts replaying of what I had to deal with
Sure.
when I was in
Yeah.
basic, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
one of them things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think everybody has that to some degree. I don't think you'll ever forget the
No.
feeling of like just seeing that campaign cover and having it just be like haunt your nightmares type stuff, because at one
Hmm.
point in time, everyone in the military, I don't care, you can lie about it if you want to, was afraid of that campaign cover. I
Hell
don't
yeah.
care what you say.
Hell yeah.
There were times when it was 3:30, 4, 5 in the morning, and you see that campaign cover just come out of darkness, and you're like,
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
yeah. Now, what kind of stuff did you end up learning while you were in AIT?
While I was in AIT, I learned a lot of signal, how to fix a radio, how to lock onto a satellite with another an STT terminal, smart tees, a lot of uh CPN and networking and stuff like that. It was
Mhm.
actually pretty interesting.
Okay. Okay. A lot of shit that I have no idea what you were just talking about. So
It's
I,
fine.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Uh, okay. Now, did you, how did you land on that job? Was it like, here's an option of what you're qualified for? Or were you like, this job potentially is going to set me up in the future?
So when I took my ASVAB, I took it twice. When I first took the ASVAB, I didn't like the score, so I went back and took it a second time. I talked to my father and to my boss, and my boss and my father said the same thing. They said if you're gonna go in and you want to use it for college or whatever, don't let them pick what you like, pick something for you, because the
Yeah.
recruiters, what they will
Yeah.
do is if they have a quota or something that they need to be met, they will throw you into a MOS because it's just like, oh well, I need this number to be filled or this slot to
For
be
sure.
filled.
Yep.
Do not allow them to do that to you.
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
what my father told me. So I was just saying, he was like, you don't want to, he's like, no offense to anybody, he's like, because he's like, I was infantry, he's like, but don't do infantry if this is what you want to do, and don't be a cook. I was like, cool.
Damn.
So he's like, if you're doing IT for college and that's what you want to do when you get on the outside, make sure that that's what you pick, something that is IT related.
Mhm.
So I I originally, when I took my ASVAB, I took too long to get back to my recruiter, and I was supposed to go to Fort Huachuca to be a UAV pilot. That was gonna be cool, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
So I took too long, and I became a satellite transmissions operator maintainer. So
Yeah. Well, first, what's wrong with being a cook? I was a cook.
he
Uh,
didn't want infantry. He infantry and cook. He said to me, he said, unless you're gonna use that to be a chef when you get out,
yeah.
he's like, don't be.
No, I got
He's like, you
I
want to set
yeah,
yourself up for whatever
yeah,
it is you want on the
absolutely.
outside.
I got doped into I got tricked into being a cook. So I get it. Recruiters will tell you anything. Um
You got tricked into it? How
yeah.
so?
I so I
If
went
you don't mind me asking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to I signed up to be a combat engineer because I was like
Mm-hmm.
that makes me happy doing
Right.
all that type of shit. And my recruiter was like um look, this guy bailed. We need somebody to go to boot camp um because of, cuz this guy, you know, just dipped. And I was like, all right, bet. So I went through boot camp. I went through infantry school. And at the end of infantry school, they tell you where you're going. They have like a list and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, you're going to Fort Lee, Virginia to quartermaster school. I said, what
Wow.
the fuck is that? And they're like, this you're gonna be a cook. I said, no, that's not it. Nope. And he's like,
Right.
well, according to this, you can talk to a career planner, but your only options now are you can stay here and be infantry, or you can go to Virginia and be a cook. And I said, yo, fuck this place.
Right.
And it
Right.
turns out that because I filled in for this guy, I took his job as well. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, which my recruiter didn't tell me fuck all about. Otherwise, I would have told him no. Um,
Exactly.
so that's how I ended up being a cook. But I ended up doing everything I could not to cook. I
Yo,
worked in
he's
a
an
lot of different
asshole,
jobs. Yeah,
bro.
I met him. Him and I had a
A run in.
a run in the Motor T parking lot, and and
Yeah, I
there
can
was
only
nobody
imagine.
there was nobody out there, and he was an E6 and I was an E3. I just got denied being an E4, and I um I was a McMap instructor, Marine Corps martial arts program,
Oh.
and and I just found out I got denied, and we like ran into each other, and he was trying to be buddy buddy, and basically told him in not so polite terms that he needs to leave, or he's gonna like this is not gonna end
Right.
well.
I don't
Um,
blame you.
so, but yeah, but yeah, so that was my um, that's how I got duped into being a cook. But
Hmm.
anyways, um, now how long was AIT?
AIT was
That
14 weeks, 15 weeks.
doesn't seem that long at all for something that technical.
It was like 4 months.
Yeah, yeah,
The thing is that we was on a new schedule, so they tried to like basically make it shorter. I was one of those when I came in. I was one of those. It was the same thing for basic training. We were the test group for this new policy that they wanted to push out. Like usually, basic training is supposed to be I think 12, 11 weeks, 10 weeks. I can't remember which, but they shortened it
yeah.
during that time frame.
Yeah. um, it's interesting. Now, did you okay? So after, do you have any interesting stories about AIT?
Um, I mean, other than me getting drunk and doing stuff.
All right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was AIT was interesting. Like I would have to say I met a lot of I met a lot of interesting people there. I have a bud of mine that I met in AIT that was in my same unit after I got out of AIT. Me and him are like brothers.
Oh, okay.
Basically that is my brother. Like we still talk to each other to this day.
Yeah.
Like um I don't know. Like it's a very interesting thing because I met my wife there as well.
Yeah.
So when we've been together for going on 6 years now, 5 years, 6 years. So it's like had I not had I not been me and just what I mean went back to that recruiter's office a little earlier than I should have,
Yeah.
I'd have never met any of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd have been in Fort Huachuca. I'd have never met them. So, and that's
Okay.
in, I think, Arizona. So,
Yeah.
but AIT, the most interesting things that I can say about it that I enjoyed
Yeah.
was sneaking back in after hours.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
On
Like
base.
there were
Yeah.
yeah, on base. Like
Yeah.
because as a AIT like soldier, you're not completely until you finish AIT. You're not a 100% soldier yet. Till you finish your schooling. That's what they preach. So
Yeah.
yeah. So when they have a curfew for you to be back on. If
Mhm.
you're not back on in time, you're gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Oh,
get your ass.
100%.
But the funniest thing that I can say was we had a cadre that said to us uh, that the the dorm basically
Mhm.
where we all the barracks where we laid our heads. We had a second floor and a third floor. The males were all on the second floor and third floor. The females was on the first floor. Cadre would be at the desk on the first floor to make sure the males wasn't going into the female bay, et cetera, et
Sure.
cetera.
Yeah.
Um, one of the cadres said to us, he said, it used to be co-ed where males and women, shared rooms and it was fine. He's like, but what ruined that? He was like, ignorant ass males doing extra shit that they didn't need to do. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I recall one day when you shower with other males, period and point blank. Female
Mhm.
bay showering with other ladies. So when we're showering with other males and stuff like that, we come out and our cadre was one of these people. He was a stickler. He said, if you come out naked, and he meant this shit, like he wants you not in a towel. He wants you to get dressed in the bathroom. He said the reason being is sometimes when we're doing checks or stuff like that, he'll have one of the younger cadre ladies come upstairs with him and
Mhm.
they do checks in the rooms,
Sure.
basically giving them guidance. He said none of them when I'm bringing them upstairs, none of them want to see you naked, so make sure that you're dressed.
Sure.
Now this is Augusta heat, ladies and gentlemen, in the middle of June, July. This is bad. It's like 90, 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want to be in dress blues in the heat. You
No.
understand? So he said, if you get caught naked, I'm gonna make you dress up in your dress blues and stand outside. And every time somebody walks past, you have to salute and scream at the top of your lungs. Nobody wants to see us naked. It was the most awkward shit I've ever seen. And guess who got caught coming out the shower one day, like not fully dressed?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was outside. Anytime anybody passed, it didn't matter if it was cadre, student, whatever. I had to stand up, salute, and scream at the top of my lungs. Nobody wants to see us naked. It was a time.
Oh,
It
I'm sorry.
was a
Excuse
time.
me. Oh boy.
That was demeaning, but at the same time, it's just like, well,
Oh
whatever. It's just, and
shit.
this was for like 4 hours, four
Yeah.
hours of doing this shit, and you
Yeah.
never know how many people come in and out of the building until you have to do that shit.
Oh
Because
yeah.
every time
Absolutely.
somebody comes by, and then there were people, your friends, dickheads, that will come in and out of the building on purpose.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it was a fun time though.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I can only imagine. I can only imagine how. Um.
Sweating like bullets, bro. I had to take my dress
Boy.
blues to the cleaners because I was sweating so bad.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Um excuse me. Now when cuz I forget because of like the Marine Corps is always segregated. It's always been men and women just don't like
Yeah, they
um
separate them.
yeah, absolutely. Um so I always forget when people talk about like female drill sergeants, or I mean even female drill instructors, because I went to boot camp on the West Coast, so there was no females whatsoever. Um, now, was it ever an issue? Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't. It couldn't be. I mean, it could be. Were there ever any like was it hard for you like having a female like
Female
drill
drill
sergeant?
instructor.
Yeah. Was that ever like an issue? Like was that ever hard for you? I've never had that experience
So
because there weren't any female drill instructors on Camp Pendleton when I
so
was in the
for
boot camp.
so for us in boot camp, we had one. We had
Yeah.
a lady drill instructor, and she went harder than most. And
Yeah.
and I never understood what it was about until I talked to my father. And my father said, she may have a point to prove because people think,
Yeah.
when it comes to that situation, they think, oh, okay, well, she's soft. She's not gonna give them the proper, like, not
Yeah.
lashing, but the proper amount of bullying. I wouldn't say bullying, but the proper amount of discipline that another drill instructor would. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my thing is, it wasn't bad, but you could see where a lot of it was stemmed from what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, a stigma,
Yeah.
right? They go a little harder in the paint, you know what I'm
For
saying,
sure.
than most. Now, will I say, you know what I mean, was she unfair? Never. She wasn't unfair. Like, if you fucked up, you fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
And what bothered me during training was I had to separate myself because it's just like you went to a military school. You learn basic facing movements. You learn how to
Hmm.
march. You already know all of these things. These are people that probably just left their home, never had anything to do with the military, and don't know anything. But the cadre will find reasons to smoke you. It's just what it is. If anybody that doesn't know what smoking is, it means
Yeah.
making you do fucking push-ups in dirt while your face is in it. Anything that they can do to demean you or make you feel less than yourself or to push you or break you. Period and
Hmm.
point blank. They could have you out there doing push-ups in the rain, the snow, 110-degree heat. It doesn't matter what it is. Hands
Sure.
could be burning from the asphalt. Fuck you. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
was.
For
But
sure.
honestly, it wasn't unfair. She was never unfair to us,
Hmm.
but you could tell that they would find reasons to smoke you. Anything that they could do. Wrong facing movement, you talking, you scratch your nose,
Yeah.
anything. So,
For sure.
but I had like, I'll never forget my drill sergeant's name, and that's funny because he said at the very beginning when he first met us, he said one thing that I will instill in you. He's like, and one thing I will say. He said, you will never forget my name,
Mhm.
and I mean this shit. I still haven't forgotten this man's name. He
Yeah.
he said, you will remember my face and you will remember my name for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I still remember his face and name to this day. That
Yeah.
man, that man put us through hell.
Hmm.
And then what's so crazy is right after, not to be your friend right after, but right after it's all said and done, their demeanor changes to you. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like they're no longer the dickhead that they was when they were training you when you about to
Yeah.
graduate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're a human being.
Hmm.
So it's a weird situation, but I'd have to say my basic training experience wasn't horrible. I actually enjoyed it. Not enjoy. No, I didn't enjoy it. Let me stop there. When I look back, I
Yeah.
laugh at it.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy shit about it.
You enjoy it
Um,
now. Now is
yeah,
when
now
you
that I
enjoy
can
it.
look back. Yeah, now that I
Yeah.
can
Now
look
that you don't
back.
have to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I it's just so funny how when like in a in a the time span of like 24 hours from like about to graduate and then graduating basic or boot camp, how a drill instructor is just or drill sergeant or whoever is in charge of you changes.
Yeah.
I had a drill instructor who he had to have been like 5'4", maybe 5'5". Didn't like anybody at all who was taller than them, which was like 99% of the people there.
Same.
And
I had one of those too.
it went from every time we would have a conversation, because I'm 6'4", and every time we would have a conversation, he would go like this.
Tell
And
you to
so
come down.
yeah, so basically you would just have to squat down, you know? And so you guys were face to face, you know? And I remember I graduated After I graduated, I was the guide for our platoon, and I was in my blues, and I came back to the barracks I came back to the squad bay to get my bag and change and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he came up to me, and like initially I just started going down just like as a force of habit, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
he stood on a footlocker, so we were like face to face, and he like put his hand out to shake my hand, and I was like, "This is a is this a sign of respect? Like, is that what's going on?" You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how like it just goes from 1 minute it's like they're gonna like smoke you, and then the next minute, you know, you see a smile on their face. You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
crazy, crazy.
Seeing my daughter smile for the first time in fucking 10 or 13 weeks was the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
They get this portrayal that they the this fucking major hard ass the whole time,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you thinking to yourself, like, do you even do what do you eat nails for breakfast? Like, what the fuck? Like, do
Yeah,
you not have a happy thought in your life? Like,
yeah. You wipe with sandpaper? Like, is what
yeah,
is this? Like,
exactly. Like,
why are
what's
you so
going on?
angry? Yeah. All right. So, AIT was in Georgia.
Right.
Where'd you go from there? Your first duty station,
That would have been 111 Signal in South Carolina.
South Carolina. So basically, you've been in the South the entire time, um,
Yes.
since you joined.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so how was that like? Get you're brand new to the fleet. You just got out of school. How was that?
It wasn't horrible. Like, I kind of like grasp the situation with everybody. Like, once you learn who you talking to, etc. Everything
Mhm.
kind of fell in place for the most part.
Okay. Did it so like it wasn't a big shock. I'm assuming people didn't like play little fuck games with you when you first got there.
No, no, we was missing a good portion of our unit anyway because some of them got deployed. Not everybody
Oh,
went.
okay. Yeah, I guess that makes
So
sense.
yeah, when we were missing people, they were too busy trying to make sure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
they had
we
more
were
important things to do.
right. We were good to go. And then what really did it for me though is when that actual first sergeant that got deployed came back.
Mhm.
Oh, oh, that whole situation went tits up at that point. Like, I
Uh-oh.
butt heads with him constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened with that?
So when you go on a deployment with others, right? You get a close camaraderie with them.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
100%. You got these people watching your back. You gotta watch theirs. I get it.
mhm.
You know, he doesn't know
Absolutely.
me. He didn't
Yeah.
meet me. You
Sure.
know, I'm new fresh blood to him.
Yeah.
So I already got camaraderie with all of the people that's in the unit that I've been around this whole time.
Yeah.
I I He was one of those first sergeants that like to micromanage.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Come around. Hey, is this done? How? Why isn't this up yet?
Yeah.
If you do that, like, hey, this is my job. This is what I get paid for.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't one to sit back and let somebody micromanage me, especially if you want me to do my job. If I can't do my job if you you on my neck. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so
Absolutely.
me and him butt heads a couple of times on that, and then one day, I happened to go off post to get lunch. Took a
Yeah.
little longer to get back because of traffic.
Sure.
He gave me shit, like,
Yeah.
grilled the fuck out of me. And
Yeah.
then after he gave me shit and grilled the fuck out of me, I noticed as I'm getting grilled, people that he was on deployment with coming in the door from lunch got bags in their hands from food.
Sure.
We all left at the same time.
Yeah.
Why am I getting grilled? I see what this is, favoritism, and
Yeah.
it plays. They do this in the military.
A
Period. Point
hundred
blank. It's
percent. Yeah.
fucked up leadership.
There's favoritism. A
There's
100%. Yep.
favoritism all the time. Um, we don't like to talk about it, but we all know this favoritism, this bullshit that you deal with,
Hmm.
and for anybody that's like, um, it can be stemmed from, like, just being honest. It could be stemmed from racism, from people not. You got people from other, like, states that's
Hmm.
never experienced another
Sure.
culture, another
Yep.
ethnicity. I didn't personally deal with it in basic training, but what I will say is you like you could see it sometimes. Like, hey, I didn't even know it until you never cognitively think about it until you go to basic training and you see people from all walks of life and they say to you, hey, well, I went to a all white school, or I've never seen any of this because I live in a country, or you
Mhm.
know and then when they meet you for the first time, their perception is what they either see on TV or what they've experienced
For sure.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
So when y'all are getting to know each other, it's an enlightening thing because for me, if I get deployed with you, I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck about none of that. As long as you're watching my back and I'm watching yours, because I'm not trying to, like, I got plans. I'm not trying to die out
For
here. So
sure.
at the end of the day, like, all of that extra shit can go out the window. I don't have time. You shouldn't
Yeah.
have time either if you want me watching you, and vice versa. Battle buddies for life, right? Like gotta.
Mhm.
So you know, I I tell people this all the time. Like when it comes to leadership, if you station somewhere you don't get along with your leadership, there's a multitude of reasons behind that. Either
Yeah.
maybe you need to tighten up and get your shit together so you're not looked at as the shit bag, or for
Sure.
that matter, maybe you could be doing everything right and that person is just an asshole.
Yeah.
Move yourself.
Yeah.
Remove yourself from that situation. Get out of that
Yes.
unit, request a transfer. Your mental health, whatever, is more
Mhm.
important than having to deal with that shit. Period and
100%.
point blank.
There's a lot of people who complain about the military and they're like, "Oh, my unit, blah blah blah." But and there's quite a few like a handful of them where they were the problem. They were the
See what
shitbag,
I'm saying? Like
but they
it
don't.
could be that way.
Yeah, but they don't look at it that way, or no one has ever called them out on their bullshit. And it's like, well, yeah, but you did this. Like, I had he was one of my best friends in the military. He used to complain about it all the time. After we got out, he's like, oh, I never understood why blah blah blah. And I was like, well, you were always late to work. You always in dirty clothes. You never did your job. You always tried to dip out. There was always an excuse for stuff. You don't think that's the problem? Like,
They will,
well,
yep.
yeah. And then like, well, no, I mean, this other person. I'm like, yeah, but the people you're nitpicking at who are, you said that they did this and they did that. Those are all different people. You did everything that 12 other people did. You did all of it to yourself. Like,
Take
and
accountability. Accountability is a real big deal.
yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny. I had this conversation the other day. People will look at, a lot of people think that in the military, of course, there's racism. You can't get away from it. It
You
doesn't
can't.
matter if
It
you're
don't
like,
matter if the military cops. It don't matter if
it
you.
don't matter. You can't
It
get
don't
away
matter
from
where
it.
you at. You can't.
And it's a shame, but when you talk about racism, like, and even in the military, you never think about it happening. Like, I got treated differently for racism because of, where I'm from. I grew up in the Bay Area. I grew up in, I grew up in not so nice places, but because of the way I talk and the way I present myself, a lot of people don't expect that.
Right.
Like, I deployed when I went to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, and I was the only white person in. I worked at a class 1 lot, which is shipping and receiving of whatever. I was the only white person there, and I got treated differently just because we were all from different units. We were like the leftovers, because like they didn't need a cook in Iraq because they have what they call TCNs, third country nationals, who cook.
And they're the ones that cook for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have one cook watch them, and I got treated different. And then as soon as I was like, we were having a conversation about music, and I brought up like Mac Dre and Mr. Fab and E40, Tupac, stuff I grew up on, then people were like, they looked at me weird. And then it was like, look, you judged me even beforehand, before you even got to know me. Yeah,
Right.
just because
Before
I
you even
look,
got to know me.
yeah.
Exactly.
And it's funny how, like, just until you get to know somebody,
100%.
it's absolutely mind blowing, because racism exists, but I feel like in the military, once you uh like it's either I look at it, it's two ways. It's either old racists who've been like that, like they're in their
Yeah.
50s, they're getting ready to get out and they've been racist
Yeah.
their entire life, or it's that short little racism. And then when you're forced to, because most of the time you're forced to get to know somebody, it just goes
Yeah.
away because then you relate to whatever and
You
all that
relate to
racism.
a lot of the racism has to go out the
Yeah.
window because granted, at the end of the day, y'all both have to fucking wake up at 5 a.m. Y'all
Yeah.
both have to eat
Yeah.
this shitty fucking food from the defect sometimes. Y'all
What the fuck,
both
man?
have. I'm sorry, bro. but well, I'm
No,
telling
no,
you
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There were a
The
lot of
defect
mornings
is
where I
not the
was.
same.
There were a lot of mornings where I was like, I was fucking hungover, just like my eyes barely open, trying to cook food. So I get it. I get it.
But
I
like,
cooked food and I forgot to season it
god
sometimes, so I
damn, no.
I get it.
Oh my god! But yeah, I tell people all the time, like these are things that you have to be cognizant of, man. Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's people hold the military to such a high standard, and y'all have to not forget that these are human beings. These are young human beings at that. Young.
Impressionable.
Exactly. Impressionable young kids. I
Mm-hmm.
was a young kid. I was 19 when I joined.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wasn't impressionable because I was, but not to the extent of, you know what I mean, somebody could just come along and talk a hole in my ear and make me do something shitty or stupid. You feel what I'm saying? I already had my father in
Yeah.
my ear for all of that. He made sure to keep my shit in line.
For
So at the
sure.
end of the day, you know what I mean? Like when people hear about, oh, this kid did this or this person did this in the military, or y'all hear about sex trafficking or any types of bullshit, these are human beings. These are still people. Just because they
Mm-hmm.
held to a standard to defend the country, don't mean that they're not going to do something fucked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period and point blank. I'm just
Yeah.
being honest with you. I'm a straight shooter for the most part. I'm gonna tell you what
Absolutely.
it is, and I think that is one thing that I will say the military has. I don't know if I could call it a 100% great thing, but instead of sit here and bullshit you and coddle your feelings, I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just me. And I don't know if it's come from just being outspoken, because I wasn't the most
Hmm.
outspoken before I joined the military. I
Yeah.
was I spoke my mind, but never to the degree that I do now.
Yeah.
And I think it came from just hearing people either bullshit or just, you know, being in groups of people or soldiers or your friends and hearing some shit and be like, nah, that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cut
Yeah.
that shit out. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Absolutely. Well, I feel like there's a there's some sort of like when you're forced to be in a leadership position and you have to cut out the bullshit to get a job done. I feel like that's one of the things from the military that sticks with you the most. Is like
Yeah,
let's get around the bullshit and get into what the job needs to get done. And I feel
yeah,
like that's a thing that um sticks with a lot of people, and it's a different way of living your life. And I know a lot of people who have um like I see that in civilian work all the time, and people like that guy's an asshole. I'm like, no, that guy's trying to get a job done. Like, is it does it feel like he's being an asshole? It does, because he doesn't care about your feelings, because we're here to do a job. And
period and point blank.
I feel like a lot of people don't like that because they're like, well, I'm a, like, but what about my feelings? And it's like, you're not necessarily getting paid for your feelings right now. You're getting paid to do this job.
You know, people. I've been called an asshole throughout a lot of my life, man.
Yeah.
And it's come to a point where, you know, I always said to even my mother even said to me, she's like, Tony, you could be a real asshole. And I was like, damn, mama, you serious? I have to look at her like, damn, mama, you said that was back then.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she'll say it to me like, I think I've been accepting this shit for the past 7, 8 years. She'll say it
Hmm.
to me and I'll be like, that's fair. No, I'll
Yeah.
just be like, that's fair, bro.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
assholes get
Absolutely.
shit done, bro. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that guy, but when the fuck did anybody care about our feelings? not to, just saying when, you know, yeah. I'm just
I
kidding.
yeah, that's how the military is, period. Okay,
Yeah,
so um I went to Iraq in 2006. I saw some shit in Iraq, and it lives with me to this day. And in that moment, uh it was like, ain't nobody give a shit about like how I felt in that moment. Nobody gave a shit about like what was going on, because there needed to be a job done. And I feel like that type of stuff um is how the military treats you, period. Like,
right.
you you're here. I mean, you don't join the military, joining the military, that they're not like, they're not going to coddle you. They're not
Not a
here.
bit.
You're here to work for them. They're not here to work for you. Um,
Period.
which in
Now,
most cases, uh, is a good thing. Um,
what what I will say to that though is your mental health is a big deal.
yeah,
Just because
absolutely.
nobody's saying that, oh, we shouldn't take your mental health into account.
Yeah.
Your feelings and your mental health, they don't always coincide together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All I'm saying though is, if, like, for instance, with you, VOP, you saw some shit while you was overseas. They should have helped you immediately. Period and point blank.
Mhm.
Whatever you go through while you're overseas, when you come back and you
Yeah.
get that debrief, they're supposed to help you
Oh, yeah. Yep.
get through, like, through all of that shit. And if they don't,
Yeah.
that is a failure on them. Like, seriously.
Well, there's a bad stigma that goes with that.
Yeah,
Um
I know.
so when I came back from Iraq, you have a debriefing, you sit down, everyone has to talk to a therapist or a psychologist or whatever. Everybody has to talk to a shrink. Doesn't matter. You have to talk to them, and they ask you a bunch of questions. They have a sheet of paper, and they sit there and they ask you the questions. 90% of the people were like, I'm fine. No, I'm okay. Because of the stigma of, because I didn't. When they were asking me questions, I answered honestly. And I ended
Right.
up like, I went back every week. Like, I had to talk
Mhm.
to a therapist every week for it, because uh, because I took it upon myself to be like, I need some help with this shit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and
And that's
there's a
understandable.
there's a bad stigma that people have of where,
They
oh, you're
black
weak.
they blacklist you.
Yeah,
That's
well,
exactly.
they tried to, and I had people who would like talk shit to me, and they'd call me weak, they call me a pussy and stuff like that. And so like I was going through McMap instructor course, and I was doing other stuff, and I was like, yo, if I'm such a bitch, like, fight me. Like,
Right,
show me how much,
you wanna
much.
wanna
Yeah.
exactly, throw the hands,
Yeah.
exactly, like, let's not act like let's you wanna let's take it outside, take the
Yeah,
rank off, let's take it
absolutely.
outside,
And
and let's see if you about that life, like,
yeah, and
right,
I mean, you know how many people who would talk shit to me and then would take me up on that? None.
0. 0,
I'm like, yo,
absolutely
which one
0.
of us is the bitch now? And
Exactly.
absolutely. So like, the biggest thing, you have to take care of yourself in the military. 100%.
You have
You
to,
have to look
and
out for yourself.
I say this to anybody that's watching. If you, for the civilians that don't know any what we're talking about, when you go overseas, it's this stigma in the military that you got to be tough
Yeah,
constantly.
sure.
You know what I mean? I still have to battle that shit myself, because even Stream has said to me, "Well, Tony, you're not a robot." Lola has said that shit to me, and I was just like, "Yeah, you're right," but
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? I have to learn when to turn that shit off.
For sure.
Because at sometimes, you'll go through something, and the military has taught you, hey, you know, you you don't show emotion. You gotta keep pushing. Don't
Yeah.
you just fuck everything else. Just keep doing what you gotta do.
Mhm.
And I've had to learn to turn that off. Like, in my marriage, I've had to learn to turn that off when I'm talking to friends, family. I've had to learn to be a little bit more understanding,
Mhm.
because of the simple fact is the military puts this stigma on you to make you feel like everything like everything doesn't deserve a reaction, and you don't have to be that person.
Mhm.
So I had to learn to turn it off. But what I will say is the military does. I wouldn't say disown you, but they give you. It's that bad stigma that if you need mental help or you're weak.
Yeah,
Period. Point blank. That's the way they
absolutely.
treat it.
Yeah.
So much so that if you go for mental health, they find ways to keep you off of deployments. They find ways to keep you from, no, I
Getting
wouldn't say eject, but
promoted.
getting promoted. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting promoted.
Yep.
They find ways to keep you down if you've said, hey, let's say for instance, you go overseas and you see some shit and you come back and you say, hey, listen, I need a little help on this, blah blah blah. You your whole profile or file goes into
A
this file,
separate.
yeah, a separate file
Yeah.
from everybody
Yes,
else.
it does.
And your what do they call it? It goes red in the system to
Yeah.
where
It
it
flags you.
sets you up and it flags you and says, "Hey, this guy is not mentally sound to blah blah blah." And when that comes up, you can't get promoted. Now, granted, if you put yourself in my shoes, I got a family. Most military people, they have children. They're married. By the way, we'll get on that subject later. The whole
Yeah,
military forcing you to get married,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not forcing you, but pressuring you.
Yeah.
But mostly people are married. They have children. Now, if I can't get promoted, which I want to get promoted because that means more of this
Yeah.
for my family,
Yep.
what am I gonna do when I see some fucked up shit? I'm going to lie. I'm gonna say, hey, I don't have an issue. There's nothing wrong with
Hmm.
me when there is, because I'm afraid that you're gonna put me into this fucking box that keeps me from making more money.
Yeah,
It's fucked
absolutely.
up.
Yeah, there's two ways that the military pressures you, and one is by doing that, they basically blacklist you from, I mean, you name it, from doing anything else, or you get pressured by groups of people, um, by like, well, it's not what men do. Whatever, man, suck it up, type shit. You get pressured by that, by people that
Yeah.
you admire, people you look up to, people, because uh that's how the military's been. And in some situations, that is absolutely what you have to do. If rounds are going down range, if Tony and I are in a combat situation and Tony gets shot, Tony dies next to me. And right now is not the time for me to break down. I need to suck it up. I need to fucking I need to man up at that moment. But when shit's done, that's when you're supposed to
Decompressing and stuff.
decompress it and let it out so that way
Mhm.
you don't end up. That's why the statistic, and it's even higher now, that's where the 22 comes from, because statistically speaking, 22 vets uh commit suicide a day. That's where the number comes from, and it's
Yeah.
because of that. We have a bad stigma of not talking about it. Men don't talk about their feelings, right? Or in the military, type, well, in general, but in the military, you just don't, it's whatever. You become less of whatever, army or soldier, marine, airman, what, you become less of whatever branch you're in if you talk about, your feelings or shit you're going
Hmm.
through. Oh boy. But anyways, we got off on a wild tangent there.
Yeah.
So
All right.
you no, it happens all the it happens every single time it happens. Um All right, so your unit comes back from deployment. You're button heads with your, who'd you say, your master sergeant,
My
first
first
sergeant.
sergeant.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, did that ever get resolved, or did you guys just not like each other
Oh
until
no, we just didn't like
it
each
just?
other until he
Yeah.
rotated out. Yeah, we
Okay.
never liked each other. Yeah.
Now, what would your day consist of? Like, what does a
My
I don't.
day consisted of getting up, doing PT. After doing PT, going to the motor pool,
Mhm.
depending on the day,
Yeah.
doing motor pool checks, PMCS, I completely forgot. But you doing the regular checks on the vehicles, on the
Mhm.
Humvees, making sure everything is correct. And
Mhm.
after that, going to the actual STTs or Smart Ts and doing constant maintenance or locking onto the satellite for a mission or
Mhm.
whatever it is that they dial up.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
was there a lot of like, well, not a lot of, but like, were there field ops that you'd have to go on to make sure
So
systems are running, or like?
yeah, so sometimes we would go into the woods with the equipment, make sure that we can actually lock onto a satellite,
Hmm,
test it, come back. If we wasn't testing it with that, we were sometimes being attached to other units and helping them with their equipment as well.
okay, okay. Um, I'm assuming shit uh never worked properly how it was supposed to.
Bro, bro, don't get me started on how much shit was broken. For the government to have so much money, a lot of shit is always fucking
Yeah,
broke. I never
absolutely.
understood.
Yeah.
Never understood. It was always something broken, bro.
Yeah.
Always.
And shit
It,
was always like, what, this is brand new. What do you mean it's broke?
exactly. It's broke. What do you mean? Exactly. And then the higher ups like, well, I need you to get it working. Like, well, God said no. Like this.
Yes.
I'll never forget. My first sergeant came outside during a fucking thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Cloudy. I got a satellite, right? A
Yeah.
satellite transmission. I got a big ass dish. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what an STT is, it's a satellite transport terminal. You basically, my job was to raise the dish.
Hmm.
You have to do all of this via computer. You raise the dish. You lock onto the satellite. You get information and data, and then you push that shit out to the CPN or made it safely, baby. Okay. You push that shit out, and then after you push it out, it disseminates internet, phone, voice over
Okay.
IP to everybody in the command. Right?
Hmm.
Guess my first sergeant was a dickhead. This was Super Bowl Sunday. Right? He wanted internet.
Yeah.
It's fucking rain. It's raining, pouring outside. There's cloud coverage and everything. I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody else have ever had fucking Direct TV or Dish.
Dish.
But
Yeah.
if you had Dish, you understand that when it rains, what happens?
Hmm.
Yeah, the God said no at this
Yeah.
point. Like whoever, apparently somebody said no. So at this point, like when we're talking about it, like he was like, "Well, why isn't it working?" I said, "Sir, do you not?" Like, do you not see what's going on? You want me to part the clouds? Like, what can I do? Like, there's nothing I can do. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what it is. So, he bitched at me about it not working. He went inside. So the commander comes outside. Commander's talking to me. Commander, I explained. Now, commander, he was very, it's sometimes you get some very
Logical
straight-laced,
officers.
logical officers. And
Yeah.
he came to me and I said to him, I said, listen, with the weather, there's nothing I can do.
Hmm.
He looked up. He's like, "Shut it down."
Yeah.
That's all he said to me. He said, "Shut it down." Then I said, "Well, sir, if you don't mind, can you?" He's like, "I'll handle it." Like, and that was it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Cool."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's just shit breaking, and that leads me to um FSRs. So if you ever, when you went out country, you went into Iraq or Kuwait, wherever you was, did you ever run into these contractors that know the piece of equipment or something better than you, and they come out there and they teach the soldiers how to work? Okay, these contractors are making a lot of money, a lot of
Yeah.
money.
Absolutely.
Like I mean, a lot of money. And
Yeah.
it came down to it that I met a contractor that was making ipso facto a lot of money. And he told me, he said, when you get out, call me.
Hmm.
I said, oh, because he asked me, he's like, are you getting out or are you staying in? He said, um, when you get out, because I told him, I was like, oh, I'm getting out. He's like, call me. Gave me his number, gave me his contact information. And yeah, the rest is history. That was,
Yeah.
yeah, I never looked back after that.
Hell
It was a
yeah.
good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I got some business cards from some people I met when I was deployed, and then I got back home, and I was like, I don't want to do that for fucking. I don't want to do that for fucking civilian. Like civilians, you have less rules you have to follow, but yeah, I mean, you get some. I met some civilians who I deployed. Uh, I don't want to say I deployed with. They were there when I was there. Where I don't trust them. I don't trust you.
Okay.
There's a lot of civilians where I
Understood.
was like, yeah. I had a lot of business cards, and I was like, there were one or two where I was like, I could probably work. I don't want to say with them because
You could
I'd work
tell. You could
for
tell
them.
us. You could tell the sketch ones. You
Yeah,
can.
But there
It
were a
wasn't
lot
all of
where,
them, but there was a lot.
yeah, where I was like, I'm sorry, I don't.
I'm
I,
good.
I I don't trust you. Like when I was in the Marine Corps and you were on my base, like I didn't trust you then. Like I'm not gonna trust you like
Yeah, I ain't
to
gonna
work
trust you
for you.
now.
Yeah. Okay. So now, did you okay, so from how long were you in your first duty station? How long were you there for?
I rotate. So because of some issues that I had,
Sure.
I stayed with them. So I was supposed to get my E5 by rotating to another duty station.
Mhm.
I knew exact. So you ever get attached to a unit and know what's going on in that unit? There was some extra shit that was going on in that unit,
Yeah.
and they wanted to put me over there, and I told them no.
Yeah.
I told them absolutely not. They was like, "Well, you're not gonna get your E5." I was like, "That's fine.
Yeah.
I stayed with my E4. Like I'm not. I don't care because I'm not making this a career. So it wasn't really a big deal to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want the rank. Not to say don't want the rank, but what would have came with it would have been bullshit. So I just said
Yeah.
no,
The extra,
absolutely not.
extra. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the extra.
Now, okay, so you was that your only duty station you were at then?
I stayed there for most of my time.
Okay. Now, how what like that's not too far away from where you grew. I don't well, maybe not where you grew up, but where you're from, right? Not too
Right.
far
So
away.
I was not too far away at all.
Now, so I mean that must have made it easier for like well, just in
Yes,
general. Um
commuting, everything. It
yeah,
made it a lot more
absolutely.
easy. Yeah.
Oh, so were you able to stay like I mean at your house and then just commute to
So due to the situation that I was in,
yeah.
I was still helping out my folks. So I was staying with my
Oh.
folks while I was So I
Yo,
was
it's
trying to
fucking making that
so
money. Hell yeah, dude.
yeah,
Oh
so
shit.
I was making do with a lot of things between
Yeah,
that and doing college courses,
sure,
everything.
sure.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So you were going to college while you were in as well?
Yeah, I was doing online classes.
Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Bruh,
Um,
tell me about it.
I knew people
it
who
took
would.
it took me from age 19 until 26 to finish for my bachelor's,
Mm,
just because I was doing small classes bit by bit.
yeah.
I went to a university. I went to a university for a year. I went to Coastal Carolina University for a year, for 2 semesters, and then to I went to Limestone College that's in South Carolina
Mhm.
for the rest of my bachelor's degree for my computer science.
Wow, crazy. Um, now, did you uh, did you go on any deployments?
I went on a 9 month to Kuwait.
Okay,
That that
how was
wasn't
that?
bad.
Yeah,
It's fucking hot.
cool. Yeah, Kuwait. And from what I remember, so Iraq is hot, and Kuwait is hot and muggy.
Yes.
I got off when I got to Kuwait, we got off the plane and I was drenched. Um, and then went, did all that stuff in Kuwait, getting ready to go to Iraq. And when I came back from Iraq, we got off the plane and then we were drenched and then we had to go through customs. Um,
Yep.
which made it even worse because it was like 10 o'clock at night and it's like 100 degrees and I'm not
How
sweating, but I'm like, I'm wet. I'm
you went?
dripping.
I still don't understand how it can be dark and be over 100 degrees. That makes no
I
sense.
don't, I don't know.
Absolutely zero.
That's why
Or
I,
for that matter, getting off the plane and seeing a trash can, a plastic trash can melting.
yeah.
Like oh man, that place.
Yeah. Uh, so how was Kuwait? What'd you do while you were in
Kuwait,
Kuwait?
Kuwait was a lot of. Actually, Kuwait was pretty easy.
Hmm.
I would say pretty easy because after my satellite was up, I went into the AC.
Yeah.
I stayed in the AC for the most part. I
So
wasn't. I didn't actually have it too hard. The only
yeah.
issue was, the only issue was because certain equipment has to have AC. If you have certain like racks and stuff like that that has to have AC,
Reason being is that's the only reason I was in the AC because
Mhm.
I'm around the equipment.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Some people be like, some people got it
Mm,
like that, you know?
yeah. So I lucked up on that, but like I said, the most important thing about Kuwait for me was the FSR, the contractor that I met,
Yeah.
and him putting me on game of
Mhm.
what I could do and what I the opportunities I had.
Nice. Now, so basically, while you were in Kuwait, all your responsibility was to make sure that I guess the satellite was sending and receiving like signal.
Yes, that's
So if
it.
that was up, you were just chilling.
I was chilling for the most part,
Yo,
unless there
that's what's up,
was
man.
time to do PT or I was
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
I was
I
chilling
ain't.
unless there was PT. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. My biggest thing is when I talk to people about like deployments or whatever, and they're like, "Well, I just it wasn't that good of a deployment because I didn't do anything." I'm like, "Well, you count yourself lucky." Like,
Yeah, like
like,
you count yourself extra
yeah,
lucky because
absolutely,
you could be in another deployment zone getting shot at or
yeah,
getting bombed randomly.
absolutely,
Like,
yeah,
bro, the only time that Kuwait is not, I can't say Kuwait's not dangerous, but
not as
it's
dangerous.
not as dangerous. But
Yeah,
the alarms did go off a couple of
for
times while
sure.
he was on post.
Yeah,
And it's one of those things that you got to be ready for. You know what I'm saying? You got to
cool.
be mentally. The very
Hmm.
first time it went off, and this is how I know I have slight PTSD
Hmm.
because when we was in Germany, me and my wife, when we was in Germany, and the alarms went off on the post.
Yeah,
Now, nobody's thinking anything is going to happen in Germany, right?
yeah.
But when they did go off, I jumped out of bed butt ass naked and was just like, "Yo, what the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? I'm looking
Yeah.
out the window trying to make sure everything's. And then I was about to just grab her
Yeah.
and run into the bathroom and throw her ass in a tub or something. Like I had my whole mental just.
Yeah. In that moment, you knew
So
what was going on. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
just like, oh
You had a
shit.
plan.
So
I get
you
it.
know, it's one of those things. Like, but other than that, like I didn't. I was chilling for my deployment for the most part.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really have it
Well,
too hard.
Kuwait's a different kind of dangerous for the fact of so in Iraq and Afghanistan, you're under the threat most most of the time of small arms fire,
Right.
maybe some explosives, or if you're driving IEDs. Kuwait,
Oh my goodness.
Kuwait,
Yeah.
you're under attack of missile strikes. That's what you're
Right.
under attack of, where you
Right.
can't shoot back fucking missile
You
strike.
can't.
Like, you're just
No.
basically like, if it hits, I'm fucking dead. There's no like, maybe. Like, what am I gonna hide behind a fucking one of the T walls? I mean, you could hide behind one of
You
them.
could, but
I mean, if it doesn't hit you, your head could just explode from the pressure of the explosion. Like, there's so many things that people don't think of like, well, it's just Kuwait. It's like, well, I mean, you can't shoot back at shit at
at a
Kuwait.
missile. Yeah. Nope.
What are you gonna do? You gonna get that 1 in a million shot where you fucking explode it, like a half a mile away or what? Like, what are you gonna
Right.
do about it?
There's nothing you can
Yeah,
absolutely nothing you can do.
yeah. So like, I don't know. I always try to look at eh, situations, and when people talk about it, it's like, well, it's just different. Doesn't mean it's any less dangerous. It's just a different kind of danger.
It's that mentality, especially, and nothing against anybody that does infantry.
Sure.
I don't have anything against infantry, but it's that mentality that if you're not in the thick of it, like if you're not getting shot at or you're not being like grenades are not being thrown at you, you're not getting mortar strike, you're not enough of a badass or
Hmm.
like it's I hate to think that way, but
Yeah.
it happens all too often when your MOS is something different. What do they call it? Pog, a person other than
Pogue.
grunt, a pog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell you
like,
Pogue.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a fucked up notion, but they think you like, oh, you didn't do shit. You was deployed in Kuwait, or you didn't do anything. You was deployed here. Like,
Sure.
don't downplay everybody else's experiences just because you had to deal with some stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But
Uh, yeah. I I've had conversations with people when I was in the military. It doesn't happen too much now. I think there's more of a respect factor as veterans. But I had
right,
conversations with people because as being a cook, We would go out on field ops with grunts. We would go out on field ops with, and do shit that they were doing. And we would talk about deployments. And usually we would sit and talk, and there'd always be a few people who, well, most of the people were kind of ignorant. And they would just be like, well, you don't know what's going on. You're a cook. And I'm like, well, check this out. I've got I've been in more shit than you have as a cook, and you do this shit for a fucking living. I cook for a living, but yet,
Exactly.
I'm in there kicking down doors, with guys who are just like you.
So understand this for anybody that's in here like listening right now. Just because you have a certain job does not mean that you don't do other things that
For
the
sure.
rest of the infantry and everybody else does.
Yeah.
Your first and your first and only job when they first get a hold of you in the military is to know how to shoot.
For sure. Well,
Sad to say this,
depends on what branch you're in.
Depends on what branch, right? But
Yeah.
if we talking Army or Marines,
Yeah.
your first and only job is to know how to shoot. Period and point.
For sure.
blank.
Yeah.
Because if you're downrange, you can't be freezing up. You can't be having those pivotal moments where you just spaced out.
Yeah.
You get shot at, you gotta shoot back.
Yeah. Well, and you spend so much time doing it. That way it becomes muscle memory. So that way when rounds come down range, your body instantly reacts. And then you can think about it after the fact. But you instantly, when you get shot at and you start returning fire, you don't even think about it until your body just starts taking over when you do it. And that's why they train you so much to do it, is so that way you don't have time to react and to kind of freak out about it, So do you have any funny stories or interesting stories about being in Kuwait?
The only interesting story that I can think of is when so I wasn't the only one that was the SCT operators out there. We had like several others. One of them. So for anybody that doesn't know how the SCT works, remember when I told you everything works by the computer, right? You type everything in, type in coordinates, everything.
What do you mean for anybody who doesn't know? I think 90% of people have no idea. I think it's 10. I think there's 10% of people who know what's going on, and everybody else is just like, sure thing, Tony.
When you type in the coordinates for the satellite, you have to know where it is, etc. They give you the numbers and everything. Once you type in the coordinates, satellite comes up, and then it locks on and it moves, and you can see it once it's locked on. It moves bit by bit with the because the Earth is spinning. All you flat earthers out there, I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
The Earth is spinning.
What do you mean it's
flat earthers?
Yeah, it spins this way because it's flat.
This way? Okay,
yeah, because it's flat.
That's fair. But while it's spinning, the satellite is moving bit by bit.
Mhm.
We had an incident where the satellite. So basically, the way it's supposed to work is if you get a certain amount of miles per hour for the wind, it's supposed to auto stow.
Mhm.
So when it auto stows, if there's a weather station that's on top of it, and it makes it so if there's too much wind, it'll say, hey, well, it's too windy. The satellite needs to come down because if it don't, it'll tip the whole machine over.
Yeah.
The auto stow was broken on this.
Yeah.
It's 110 degrees, 115 something fucking degrees out there. Sun is beaming.
Yeah.
So one of these actual STT operators had to get up there, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen a hand crank, but imagine all of this metal, and you're up on top of a machine that's putting out heat with the generator and everything else, and you got to be on the side of the damn dish, and this dish is huge.
Yeah.
This dish is about the size of a minivan, probably bigger than that, probably a small size SUV, and you're
cranking it,
doing this, cranking it, and it goes down bit by bit, very slow.
Mhm.
It takes about 10 minutes to crank that bitch down. So imagine standing on top where all this radio, you getting radio waves being pushed. There's heat coming off that thing. It's a parabola, bro. It was bad.
Ooh.
When he got down, he was like his whole uniform was drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Like and our commanding, I think it was platoon sergeant, said, "You better not wear that tomorrow. That better be washed." I was just like, Jesus. Like
The
he just
fuck?
cranked out.
What?
Like the fuck. It's like it's just not like we out and like we back at the like what are you doing? Like is it
Yeah,
really
yeah.
that big of a deal?
Like what? Like,
I
hey,
think what
yeah.
really fucked me up was the showers for me, man. I yeah, I didn't
All right. Different
yeah. So
generations. I get it. Okay. Complain about
yeah,
the showers. All right.
the shower. No. Listen, hold me.
Oh.
The
Mhm.
showers for me was like so when I first got there, they were still putting a lot of shit together for that section. So I was
Sure.
just like, okay, cool. Um, it was the smell of the sulfur in the water for me. That's what it was.
Oh.
That's all it really was. It wasn't
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Well, I feel like you expect after a shower to feel clean, not feel
yeah, not
like
feel yeah.
yeah, not feel what it like minerally, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
other than that, I was good to go. I was good to go.
I mean, I don't know how that was. I mean, I took a lot of baby white baths in Iraq.
I did. I mean, yeah, yeah, that baby white bath shit. That. Mm.
Like I don't think people understand how dirty you are after you take a baby white bath.
This is true, y'all.
You're not.
Baby white baths are horrible.
Yeah.
And the only thing you doing this so you don't smell like fucking ass,
Yeah.
like straight up ass crack all day.
You're just taking the top layer of shit off of your body.
Shit off your body.
Yeah,
Not the
for
baby
sure.
white baths, yeah, baby, the baby white baths.
Yeah. If you've been in the military, you know what. If you've been camping, you probably know what we're
You
talking
know what a
about.
baby white bath is,
Except
yeah.
for the fact of you're doing a fuck ton of physical activity in whatever you call your uniform, and this is your only time to clean yourself. um what was your okay, so in Kuwait, what was your um most like what did you do for fun when you were in Kuwait?
So they had a little what did they call it?
MWR.
Yeah, they had the MWR there, but they had a section off for most of the signal corps. Like a lot of like one of the signal officers there, he built it, like he had them build it for him
Mhm.
and the rest of the signal corps. And basically we had an Xbox 360, we had a PlayStation, and we go in there and play from time to time. He had this little pong table in there, little it would convert into the ski hockey or the
Air
I forgot
hockey.
what you call air hockey shit.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. I would go in there and do stuff from time to time, but
Yeah.
my general thing was trying to just make sure that I was ready for the PT test because I was getting I was one of those people that was just getting lazy sitting around.
Yeah, getting a little
And you'd be
pudgy.
surprised. Yeah, I was getting a little
Yeah.
little Buddha belly. So you
Oh,
know what I mean. I had to
I get it.
I,
Yeah,
yeah, I had to get back on in shape. So I was a lot of working
yeah.
out.
Yeah. I did a lot of I was a wrestler in high school. I did a lot of wrestling while I was there. I got into doing some jujitsu when I was in Ramadi for a lot of my time when I was in Iraq. I did a lot of that in the MJBR because they had Xboxes and shit. I wasn't a big gamer as I am now. We have a lot of time too, so
Gotcha.
but yeah, the MWR, I think I've been to the one. I mean, I'm sure it's different. But I've been to the MWR in Kuwait. They had like nice pleather chairs, and it kind of felt like they looked like they were office chairs, but they had them set up to where it was like a movie theater, I guess, type thing. And I think people were like trying to figure out what movie to watch when we were coming back from Iraq, and everybody just passed out. You sat in those chairs and you were like, yo, these are comfortable. And they're like, oh, we should watch a movie. And then it was like everybody's asleep. Ugh. All right, so you okay, so you went to Kuwait. Um you came back to the States.
Mhm.
Now how long did you have left in your contract when you
I believe I had like 3 years left, 2 years left.
oh, so this was at the beginning of your was this
Nah,
towards the beginning of
it was
your
just towards the end because I was doing a 6 or 7 year contract. Seven,
okay.
I believe it was 7.
Okay. Okay, so you came back. Now so what happened when you came back from Kuwait? You're still you had already declined going to a new unit. Um so did you stick with your same unit while you were when you came back?
Yeah, yeah, still the same unit. I didn't move around.
Okay. Now did anything happen like um so after you came back, you stayed here, you just basically I'm assuming same job, same
Same
um
stuff. Yep.
same stuff. Now did you do anything between then and getting out? Just made
Uh,
besides making
no.
contacts?
Nah. So the most I did between then was actually shit. I got married right as I was getting out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
that's yeah.
okay, so I know this is going to jump back quite a bit, but so when does your better half come into the picture of you being in the military?
AIT. So
AIT
that would have probably been 2012.
2012. Now was this you guys were in the same
Same MOS.
well yeah, same MOS but like in the same AIT platoon or squad or I don't know what.
Same AIT. Same AIT platoon. Yeah, same AIT platoon
Okay.
and in the same class. So she would be
In the
sitting
same
next to
class.
me
Okay.
every day. Yeah.
Nice. Now how did it start? How did you
It was
guys
her ass. It
it was
was her
her?
ass. Her aggressive ass. It was her aggressive ass, man.
Yeah,
Like I
I can
was
see that.
chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, yeah,
chilling.
yeah.
She was she saw what she wanted and she went for it apparently, and then we just went from there. And we like AIT. For anybody that don't know, AIT is like college. Not to like, especially when you do co-ed stuff and there's women, men. It's like college.
Yeah.
We both had this understanding that we weren't trying to be serious at that time because I was young, she was as well. But somewhere along the way, we kept the friendship. You know what I mean? Afterwards, because she
Mhm.
was in a different unit from me, she was stationed somewhere different from me. We kept the friendship, but um, as as time went on, like we started talking heavily again. And me, I'll say this for anybody: a long distance relationship, um, it it just don't work. Like not to be that
Mhm.
guy, but it's hard for a long distance relationship to work, especially for young people.
For sure. Young people for sure.
Young, if
Young
you're
people in the
younger,
military for sure.
in the military, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Long distance relationships don't work. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
being an adult.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
about to say that being an adult.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could be an adult, which we
Yeah,
were not. So at
for
that
sure.
time, to being young, I'll tell this to anybody that just joined the military. If you between the age of 20, well, 18 and like 25, live your life, understand what's personally important to you,
Yeah.
understand that maybe you need to get a lot of shit out your system before you're ready to commit to anybody,
For sure.
because you do nothing but hurt others if you decide to be like, oh well, you know, the military is going to give me a benefit for getting married, let me get married to this person.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ruin other people. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So me and her had that understanding, like we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then around 2017, We was already talking in 2016. And in 2017, on my way out, I purchased the house and we got married. Yeah.
Hmm. Now, is that where "Hey Tony" comes from? Is because that's what she said to you? Was that the first thing she said to you?
no, no, funny story about how I got my username, right? So funny story how I got my username. My original username was Tony1718.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody that doesn't know, that is the 1718 it's so crazy. It's 1718. I'm giving y'all a personal backstory. 1718 is originally 718 is originally in New York area code 718. 1718 and then the original numbers. I used to use those numbers for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then me and my wife got married August um August 17th of 2018.
Mm.
So it's
Nice.
just one of those things. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even meant to be that way. It just happened.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like so it was 21718, and then I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna brand myself, let me just go with Hey Tony. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was just random, Hey Tony.
Yeah.
But every fucking Hey Tony was taken. Hey
Yeah.
Tony with 1 Y, 2 Ys, 3 Ys, and 4. Guess what was it? What is it
Yeah.
taken? Hey Tony with 5 Ys. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where Hey Tony comes from.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Nice.
But no, long distance relationships just wasn't a thing. You know, between everybody having needs, you know, sexual or whatever. Like it's hard to do things like that. So we
For sure.
came to that understanding that we wasn't just gonna do that. But while we was at AIT, we was yeah, we were doing things.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You were in the eyes of the government, you were adults. So
Yeah, we were adults in the eyes of the government, right?
yes. Now, so how so you said you talked off and on. Did like when did you guys decide it was like maybe we should be a little bit more serious about this?
I have to say that happened. I don't know, VOP. It's weird. And the reason I say it's weird is because I know this is cliche, but I was one of those dudes that always said I'm not getting married. Especially after being on deployment. Listen to me. I After being on deployments
Yeah.
or seeing what people would do to the dude behind their significant other's backs, I
Yeah.
was so afraid of that shit, bro.
Yeah.
I was just like, I know my temperament, and I was just like, if I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it.
Yeah.
I've seen things, I've experienced things, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But she made things easy. She made
Yeah.
things very simple. She made things very easy. I could joke with her. As you see, I joke with her on stream.
Yeah.
A
For
lot
sure.
of people that you do that with, they'll break down and start crying. You hurt their feelings, or
Yeah.
you know, they can't take a joke. They take it serious.
Sure.
I had an ex-girlfriend like that. Sad to say, like that's one of the reasons why I was just like, yeah, I don't like that shit. I can't
Mm-hmm.
deal with it. I know what type of person I am. I'm
Yeah.
an asshole. Sometimes I come off kind of fucked up. She
Yeah.
understands how to deal with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
not to say that I can't change, because I have. I've changed a lot about myself to, you know what I mean, cohabitate and make a marriage work.
For sure.
But she make things very simple for me. And
Mhm.
I'm like, you need to find a partner that actually, like, people say opposites attract, but me and her are really not that opposite. She's different from me in all her types of ways, but she gets me. So,
Yeah.
and I
That's
think I get her for the most part.
what's important. Is it
Right.
doesn't matter how close you are in personalities or different, but as long as your other half gets you, that's all that you know. That's
Right.
all that really
It
matters.
comes
Yeah.
down to, because you're never gonna agree on everything, man.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
just is what it is. Like, I don't care who you are. There's no
Yeah.
perfect couple out there that's going to agree on everything.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even if you don't agree on everything, being able to have a civil conversation about it
Absolutely.
without it getting out of control.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Like, you have to be able to bring your feelings out of it for a second,
Yeah.
have the discussion without it getting out rambunctious. Once it starts getting rambunctious, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to have no hands in it no more, because I already know,
Hmm.
emotions are flaring. I don't want to get irate with you, because all it takes is just one little snap, and then things change forever. You never know
Yeah.
what could happen.
Yeah.
I am a advocate for being able to talk to consenting adults. Just be able to sit there and have a
Yeah.
discussion and compromise, because,
Yeah.
bro, marriage is about compromise. I don't care what anybody says. You're going to
Oh,
compromise some shit.
yeah.
Period.
But you
You're going
gotta,
to compromise some shit.
as
Gotta have a balance.
a marriage expert here,
Mhm.
as my first wife, was the wife who you hear stories about while you're on deployments.
Oh,
So
God.
yeah, I got that out of the way. Thank God, I guess.
Right.
And my second wife, this is where I learned how to communicate, is because anytime we would have um, a disagreement or anything, it always felt like, instead of us talking as adults, it was like you versus me type thing,
Yeah.
where it's like we're supposed to be a team. We're
Yeah,
team,
exactly.
whatever your last name is, that's team us, but it
Right.
always felt like, we were two separate people. And that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest thing in relationships, is you have to be able to talk as adults, and you have to remember that you guys are a team. Like, this is a team sport, that it's us versus the world. It's not us versus each
100%.
other. And I'm glad, like, I see you guys, the way you guys act. Uh that's why I like hanging out in your streams, or especially when your wife's around, because you, like you said, you guys could joke around. You could joke around about whatever. It doesn't matter.
You don't.
And most of the time, she's laughing about it. So, and she gives it back just as good, so
Yeah, shame.
it's good. It's good for sure. Um okay, so now, okay, so you guys, and I do understand that there's a moment when it's just like it hits you, and you're like, we're meant to be together, like that aha moment.
Mhm.
Like, do you remember? You don't have to go into details of like what was going on, but do you remember when that happened?
Um, I was trying to close on a house.
Yeah.
I was trying to close on a house, and I was just like, well, because
Hmm.
the plan was to make sure to, because what was supposed to happen, she was supposed to get out.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam kind of waved some, kind of did some finger waving,
Yeah.
and it changed her decision.
Sure.
But the plan was to, when I purchased the house, that was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
But long story short, that was my thinking. Like, hey, well, what I mean, we'll be good to go. You know what I'm saying? You're in
Yeah.
cybersecurity, I'm in cybersecurity. We'll be good to go. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like, with the thought process and everything being talked about, like, I don't fault her ever for wanting to pursue a career in it, because granted, we have children and you do 20 years, we good to go. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We still
Absolutely.
keep GI Bill, we keep benefits, we keep medical, we
Yep.
keep, we can still go on the commissary, we can still do this, we can still do that. So I don't like anything, like, for me, IT is everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever the duty station is, I can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the plan was, hey, you finish up, do your 20 years. Because I know me, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was always chasing the dollar sign. So it wasn't really, the military had no, it didn't give me the quick fix that I was looking for.
Yeah.
In order to get that big bang for the military, you got to be older.
Yeah.
You got to have to put in the time.
It's a long
She's
game.
willing to, exactly. It's a long game, and I wasn't playing the long game. I was playing the
Yeah.
short at the time.
Hmm.
I had other shit that I wanted to get done. So I left for contracting. She stayed in.
Hmm.
But in the long haul of it, I can see it being an actually lucrative thing if she, you know, keeps going
Yeah,
and then still gets out and does cybersecurity. She'll be good to go.
hmm,
So
for
I
sure.
don't fault her. I will support her in any decision that she makes. And you know what I mean? That's my lady. At the end of the day, whatever she wants to do, I'm gonna be right behind her, supporting her and doing it. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, so you guys got married. You said towards the end of your enlistment.
hmm
Um, and then so from there, um, how did okay? So you got out. And then how long before you guys left the states? How long was that between?
20, you talking about to go to Germany?
Yeah, because that's where
20,
that's where you guys went next.
that's that's where we went. Well,
Well,
she went to Gordon to do more training,
okay,
and then we left from Gordon because that was around the apex of COVID.
yeah,
When COVID hit, we wasn't even supposed to be leaving, no more travel, none of that.
yeah,
But because she had orders, we went to Germany, and that would have probably been in 20. This is 2023, 2019 to 2020.
yeah.
Yeah, somewhere along that line. So we,
Okay,
because that's where I met like this whole community. I met the
yeah,
whole community. I met you. I met
yeah,
everybody in Germany.
yeah. I mean, yeah, in Germany. Yep,
I'm very thankful for that because we wouldn't be here today talking
for
about
sure.
everything we talking about if I didn't
Yeah,
go to Germany.
yeah,
I met a
absolutely.
lot of awesome people off of
Yeah.
this platform, and that's great. But yeah, we went to Germany. We went to V Spot.
Okay. Now, how was that? Okay, so you're relatively fresh out of the military at this time when you got to Germany, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How is it being on a military base, not having to deal with military bullshit?
Bro, bro, every time she got up and had the face like, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
I was working from home. I kiss her on the lips, be like, Mwah, I love you, baby. Have fun. Have fun at
You
work.
just roll over.
I know
Yeah.
it's so fucked up, but I would roll right back over and go to sleep. She be getting up at
Yeah.
5 a.m. It was so good not to
Mhm.
have to get up so early and deal with people's shit.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'll look out the window and watch you run by, you know.
Right, like, get
Yeah.
on my house husband duties. I love
Yeah.
you, girl.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Um, and you guys were there for a year
And
and a
year and a
half,
half.
year and a half.
It was supposed to be 2 years, but
Yeah.
the way everything panned out, she's doing officer stuff now. So
Yeah.
she's going to school to be a butter bar.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to talking to her about that because it was always something that interests me. I was never smart enough to do some shit like that, but uh, but
Listen, VOP. I think anybody. No cap. I think anybody can be an officer. Just depends on if you have the opportunity to do it. Because I have met some officers that I'm just like, how are you in this position?
yeah, I mean, as far as leading, absolutely. As far as like
Yeah, that's what really boss to do.
as far as like getting a degree to do it, absolutely not.
So,
I don't.
so one thing I will say, right?
Mhm.
I feel like, and this is just my general opinion for anybody that's a vet or still in. I feel like you should have to serve a certain amount of time as enlisted before you can be an officer. I That's my general opinion. I'll have more respect for you. Not to say that it's all about me respecting you,
Yeah.
but I have more respect for you as a. I had one officer. He was a major. He was an E6 before E6 or E5 before he became a major. Like
Mhm.
he went from and went throughout the ranks. He was an older guy, but he told us he was like anytime there was some shit that came downhill that he had to disseminate or give to us,
Mhm.
he understood it because he had to be out there
Been
doing
there.
the same
Yeah.
shit, busting his ass. So
Yeah.
he said, you know what? We're gonna do it this way. This
Yeah.
will make it easier. We don't have to. You don't have to go above and beyond. And then after it's done, I don't want to see you. Get out of here. And if I call you, come back. That's
Yeah.
it. He was so nice
I,
because he understood.
yeah. I feel like some office, like I feel like the officer should have to go through the same as enlisted in the rank, like rank structure wise, you know. So like like O1 and E1. Like, yo, you
Right.
do the same dumb shit. Like, all you are is you're an officer, but you're still doing the same dumb shit that
Same
everybody
dumb
else
shit
is doing. You might be
exactly.
in charge and stuff like that, but yo, if we're out here police calling, picking up cigarettes butts, you're the one out here watching us.
Watching us pick up
Exactly.
people- yeah.
Because like you might not have to do it yourself. I get that. You've got time, you've got, you know, a degree or whatever, but yo, you still are out here. If we have to be out here at the armory at fucking 04, you don't show up at fucking 07. You're fucking out here at 04. You're the one call and roll. That's what you're doing, type shit. And I feel like that's what a lot of officers miss out on, is they don't understand how it's so hard to be enlisted, but yet they're not. They just show up when shit's ready to happen. We've already been here 4 hours fucking doing everything.
100%.
So Germany, you're back in the States now. Wife's doing the school thing, doing the officer thing. You're I know you talked about it, but I'm not sure I don't know. So what's going on currently with Hey Tony? What are you doing in the current?
Currently, I'm still working in cybersecurity.
Mhm.
Currently, I was about to start an IT company.
Yeah.
Kind of deterred family shit. A lot of other things popped up.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, kind of.
Yeah. I can't do that right just yet, but it's still coming down the pipe. So I'm not giving up on what I set out to do.
For sure.
Some of that is on the back pedal, but other than that, I'm still an engineer, still a systems engineer, still doing work. I don't have a consistent streaming schedule anymore due to the fact that work is just kind of sporadic.
Mhm.
Other than that, man, just been chilling, living life for the most part, trying to take my lady out to different places that she hasn't been able to explore because she didn't have the opportunity. When I used to work, back in the day, I was traveling a lot of places, so for work and stuff like that. So I don't know, like trying to give her the same experience.
Yeah, no, makes sense. You trying to live your life. You get it.
All right. But other than that, man, same old.
Nice. That's what's up. Now, so we're gonna go ahead and after we finish this, because this is going up on YouTube, all of Tony's links will be, I guess, down in the description. For his Twitch, his
nice.
I don't know, what else do you do? Twitter? You do the Twitters?
I do the tweets.
The tweets. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm fucking old. I don't get a lot of that stuff. The TikToks, are you on the TikToks?
I mean, I'm not on the TikTok. You know what's so funny? I don't even do I do the tweets.
Yeah, I don't.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah. So Twitter will be there. The Twitch will be there. Do you are you on the YouTubes?
I had a YouTube, but I stopped doing it. Yeah, it's too much.
It's a lot.
I ain't got enough time.
It's a lot for sure.
I got enough time to stream and then edit and all that.
Oh yeah. I get it. But yeah, all the socials will be on there. And let's see. Plug that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Like about
anybody in my chat got any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say either chats about currently any topics we've talked about. I can't answer. I mean, I don't think either of us can answer questions that like don't pertain to our general knowledge. I don't have I'm not into physics or anything, so I can't answer any of those questions. But
would you ever go back in? Huh? Never.
Me?
No, I'm good. Yeah,
100% yes. I would. My career got cut short. I was in a bad car accident. And I kind of I destroyed like the left side of my body. So
damn.
Yeah, pretty shitty. I was one of those guys who my father was a Marine. He during Vietnam and stuff, and he did 12 years, and I was like, I could beat that. No problem. And then about almost a little over 4 years into it, after my second tour in Iraq, I got in a bad car accident. I tore a ligament in my ankle, one in my knee. I broke 3 ribs. I blew the L1 disc in my back. I broke my left collarbone, and I had to get 3 staples in the side of my head here. And that was after I carried, I carried 2 people out of the vehicle that we were in. We rolled over 5 times and landed upside down. And I would have been a little bit better, like physically, but I carried 2 people out of the vehicle we were in. So I did more damage. But like you were talking about when the sirens went off, when that flipped, I thought the vehicle was going to blow up. So I started pulling people out of the vehicle.
You saved their fucking lives, bro.
Well, I mean, nothing happened, but I thought there was smoke and everything. I thought the shit was going to blow up. So I was like, I just came back after my second tour in Iraq. And so I was like, yo, this shit's going to fucking blow up. I need to carry people. And when I started carrying people, that's when the disc ruptured in my back. And that's when my collarbone shattered. So, but if I could, 100%, I loved it. Every day. I had to go to boot camp twice to be for the Marine Corps. I could have got a medical discharge, and I could have just sat at home and collected, disability for the rest of my life. But once I got into the military, I was like, yo, this life's for me. I love it. So yeah, that's me. I would do it again. Absolutely. 100%.
What was your favorite duty station, VOP?
I loved Pendleton. Pendleton was great down in San Diego.
I'm hearing good things about Camp Pendleton. Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that. Yeah.
Beaches. The women. There was always stuff to do. Anything you could want to do, casinos or concerts, MMA fights, paintballing, clubs. Oh,
I told
boy.
my wife I'm gonna take her to San Diego. San Diego is the spot, man.
That's where I got a party with the dream. When we were talking, we went to Deco, this club called Deco's, and
nice.
I was telling you about it yesterday, I think, or the day before.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, I just came back from Iraq. We went to this place called Deco's, and he was in the VIP area. And when we would go to Deco's, everybody would pull their money together. We'd go sit in the VIP because they give you bottle service. And we went in there, and like, no shit, I had no idea. I had no idea who he, well, I mean, I knew who he was, but I didn't know what he looked like. And we were sitting there, and my buddy, who I was in the Marine Corps with, was like, shit, that's the dream. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And so I looked, I Googled it, and I was like, oh shit. And then it was one of those things where like, we just all started drinking together. We all started drinking and laughing and having a good time. And just somehow we kind of like interacted, we all interacted with each other, and then we ended up fucking partying.
That's what's up.
And had a good time. Yeah. But plenty of stuff to do down in San Diego.
That's what man. Yeah.
Sports too, if you like sports. That was I'd say that was my favorite place.
Nice.
Let's see. Okay. And usually, okay, so what was your favorite memory of being in the military? That one moment, that one memory when you think about it and it just like, it just makes you happy. Or if you're sad, it helps you, brings you joy, or something you always look back on and was like, God, fucking, this moment was, amazing.
I would have to say, well, it's kind of fucked up, but at the same time, it's kind of interesting. So we had a guy. I'm not gonna name drop you, bro. But we had a guy in the military with us. We got into a Humvee, and we took the Humvee off post to get pizza.
Or of course,
we took the Humvee off post. We ordered the pizza and we took the Humvee off post. Now, when we're taking the Humvee off post, we all in the Humvee Nobody has their fucking they shit on.
Mhm.
We just riding.
Sure.
Now, I'm driving the vehicle, and a deer like is right in the middle of the road. It's foggy as fuck. It's like 8, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's been raining a little bit. I hit brakes.
Yeah.
The brake locks up.
Oh shit.
Now I'm thinking to myself, ah shit, I need to avoid deer. Deer's still there, so I kind of like do like this to avoid the deer, and the vehicle it starts skidding
Mhm.
across the pavement, and I finally get it to stop, but it's off in the dirt, and I don't know if anybody like the way some of these roads are. There's a little bit of a road, and then there's a huge fucking ditch.
Yeah.
We stopped right before it went off the ditch, but the doors kind of like swung open. This was one
Yeah.
of those older Humvees, the plastic ones,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
So the
Yep.
doors swung open, and it's dark. Like everybody's like, everybody okay, right? So
Mhm.
we giving names like, oh, I'm gonna just random names. John, hey John, you all right? Cool. Smith,
Mhm.
you all right? Cool. Smith, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Brad, you good? No answer. Brad, you good? We looking around like Brad's gone. The whole seat empty.
Mhm.
This fucker didn't have on his seatbelt.
Yeah.
He slung. We like me turning the vehicle, slung it, jettisoned him from the vehicle,
Shit.
and he was 10 to 15 feet from the Humvee,
Yeah.
laying face down in the dirt. Right
Yeah.
now, I laugh about it now because he was okay, but it was so funny, right? We got up on him. We was like, "Yo, Brad, you okay? Brad, you okay?" He's just like, "No, my ass." He's like, he's screaming, my ass." So I'm just thinking to myself, "What's wrong with Chad? Can you
Mhm.
move? Like, what's wrong?" Like everybody's like, "Can you
Yeah.
move? Everything okay?" You ever play baseball and have one of them cherries like them like
Mhm.
all of his ass. I mean,
Mhm.
from the back to the crack down to like his
Ugh.
thigh
Mhm.
was just red because
Oh,
he
road
skidded
rash.
across.
Yeah.
Yeah, he skidded across the road into the dirt. Now, funny as shit. It wasn't funny at
Uh,
first. I'm thinking to myself,
yeah.
oh fuck, we gotta take him back. Like this all types of bad. We done the fucking Humvee got a ding in the middle of it from the tree.
Mhm.
Like this isn't even our Humvee. This belongs to another platoon. So it's like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
um, we continue to go get the pizza.
Oh,
Because he was like, no, he's like, no, bro, I'm good, I'm good.
yeah.
And one of the other soldiers was like, no, you're not good. Your ass, like, look at. So his pants, like the
Uh,
uniform, it was ripped open,
yeah.
shit like that. He was like, no, your ass, bro. Like
Mhm.
it looks bad. It
Yeah.
looks really bad. He was like, I'm good, man. Just rub some dirt on it. You ever played baseball before? I'm just like, yo, you are wild, right?
Yeah.
So we get to the what was it? A pizza. We get to the Pizza Hut. Everybody gets out the vehicle. He's about to get out the vehicle. John was like, "Nah, you're not getting out. Look at your pants." He's like,
Mhm.
"You no, just stay inside. Stay inside the Humvee." He's like, "I
Mhm.
want to get pizza too." He's like, "We're bringing the box in here, stupid. Just
Yeah.
stay in the Humvee." So we sitting in the Humvee, me and Brad, and Brad was like, I was like, "Brad, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I'm really." He's like, "It's not your fault, man." He's like, "But next time," he's like, "hit that
Mhm.
fucking deer." He's like, "Fuck." He's like, he's like, "Why would you swerve off the road for a deer? Just hit it." I was
Yeah.
like, "Bro, if we'd have hit the deer, then you would have fucked up the Humvee more." He's like, "Man, fuck that. We'd have had to clean it. We'd have went somewhere to clean that shit."
Yeah. Uh,
But
mm,
but long story short, we got back with the pizza. We ate pizza. He woke up the next morning, and during PT, during his run,
mhm.
he feigned a fall.
Oh.
He feigned a fall. Yeah, he feigned a fall during the run. They sent him. They sent him. They sent him to sick call, and It was the funniest shit when he came
Mm.
back and he told us, he's like, my doctor said that must have been one hell of a fall. He's like, I've never seen somebody's ass scraped up like this from a fucking oh God. He's like, what the fuck happened? He's like, I fell. He's like, you fell pretty fucking hard for your ass to look like that. It was a good time. That like to this day, I remember that, and I'm just like, yeah, that was a good time.
Oh, that shit's
But,
funny. Yeah, that's one hell of a fall for sure.
But I was like, I'm not gonna front when he wasn't in the seat and he was face down in the dirt. I was like, yeah, I'm going to jail.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it. I'm going to jail. I was just like, yo, if he's dead, I am going to jail. It is over. My career is over. Everything. I'm just done. But luckily, he was moving. He's just like, my ass, my ass.
Oh, dude.
Oh, it was a good time.
I know plenty of people in the military who were always like, they would get fucked up and then they would be like, well, I want pizza. Like,
I want pizza.
Yeah, that was more important.
Beer.
Yeah, I want something. It's like, yo, maybe we should go get that checked out. Like,
Get that checked out. Nah. It's okay.
I'm all right.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's shit. Funny.
Military teaches you that you're all right when you're really not all right. You need to go get that shit checked out.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Sure. Absolutely.
That would be my most memorable moment
when
I thought all of it was going to shit and it wasn't. That was
yeah, absolutely. All right, and the final thing is piece of advice for if someone is considering joining the military or they're relatively new to the military. What's your one piece of advice?
Oh man, I wish I could write a book on this one.
I think we all could.
Yeah, I think we all can write a book. Okay. First and foremost, if you're 18, don't get married immediately. Don't let anybody pressure you into marriage.
For sure.
I'm sorry, the military is very good for that. They will dangle money in your face and they will say, hey, it will behoove you to get married. I get it. Hey, at the end of the day, you never know if you go overseas, depending on your job. If you go overseas, you could lose your life. You wanna, marry kids. I get it. But don't get married immediately. You're still young, live your life.
Yeah.
Second, when you take the ASVAB, get the highest score possible.
Yeah.
Highest score possible. And don't let your recruiter try to talk you into some shit.
Oh, for sure.
Like take that as example from me, from VOP, from any veteran. Do not let your fucking recruiter talk you into doing some bullshit ass job. You get what you're worth. If you want to work and be a mechanic on the outside, then you get your ASVAB scores to where they need to be. When you join the military, be a mechanic in the military. If that's what you want to do on the outside. Now, if you plan to make this a career, then balls to walls. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. That makes you happy. But if you don't make that, if you're not making a military career, do a job that's going to transfer to the outside. It's real nice to want to shoot and blow shit up. But if you get out, what job you getting? Because you can't just, in the civilian world, you can't just be shooting and blowing shit up. Well, you could do construction.
Yeah.
It ain't the same.
You could shoot shit and blow shit up, but you can only do that once.
Right.
And yeah. I mean,
yeah. SWAT maybe.
Yeah.
Third,
that stripper doesn't really love you.
Yes, please. Strippers don't really love you.
Yeah, they don't really love you.
They really don't.
They just want that paycheck.
Really love you. Yes. And I don't know. If I could tell you anything, like just your career is on you.
Absolutely.
Let me say this again. Ain't nobody gonna worry about your career. If you're trying to make a career in the military, you have to be cognizant of self. Like, let's say, for instance, you want to be promoted. You got to take the necessary steps to be promoted. You can't depend on your sergeant or whoever it is to help you get promoted. You got to do the steps yourself. Why?
Absolutely.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody gives a fuck about you. You got to give a fuck about you. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Because I'm serious, you will be left behind if you're waiting on somebody to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to your promotion, you know why? Because I'm not trying to say everybody's in competition, but
Everybody is in competition. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
like,
yeah. Everybody is in competition. Yeah,
you're in fucking competition to get a spot, my boy.
yeah.
Like you need to be. What the hell? You need to be. You have to be on point when it comes to it, because at the end of the day, this person wants to be a sergeant too, and
Yeah.
this person wants to be a sergeant, and this person wants to be in charge. This person, listen. Also, once you get the rank and you start being in charge of other people, be the change that you want to see.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't be a dickhead. Just because you got treated bad while you was
Yep.
in the military, don't mean that these
Yep.
new soldiers, you be a dickhead to them because your commanding officer was a dickhead to
Yep.
you. Be the
100%.
change that you want to see. Because I refuse to get that rank and then be an asshole to somebody who just this kid. You don't know what this kid's going through in his life.
For sure.
Dad could have died. That's why it's not enough empathy. You know, people could have died in his family. He could grandmother have COVID. He lost his money. Oh, don't buy Camaros.
Don't go shopping outside of base.
Don't buy no brand new cars. Everyone
For 30 fucking % interest rate. Get the fuck out of here.
Don't buy no new vehicles.
No.
Every new soldier goes out and buys a Camaro or a Challenger. They first fucking paycheck. Don't do
that. No. Absolutely.
Other than that, balls to walls. Do what you got to do. Be safe out here.
Absolutely. Yeah. No one's gonna look out for you better than you. 100%.
100%.
Because there's 10 promotion slots and there's 40 people trying to get that promotion. Maybe 50 people. I mean, 60 people. It depends, you know? There's only a limited number of promotions. So
this is why the military has been harping on trying to get some of the old fuckers out. Like the old fuckers, the ones that 60, 70 years old and still a general or a lieutenant colonel or whatever. They won't leave.
Yeah. And nobody can nothing will open up underneath because those people aren't getting out. It's a trickle in the military. It's a trickle down system.
Trickle down. It's a trickle down.
100%. Absolutely. And like, you got to take care of yourself no matter what it is, because the military is going to get what they're going to get what they're going to get out of you, period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
That contract. You sign that contract. They're going to get what
they're going to get everything they can, but that doesn't mean you can't get what you deserve from the military. Like, I know people who like I would go to medical if I hurt myself, I'd go. Like I went to I talked to therapists, I did all that type of shit, and I got a lot of shit from other people about it, but I know people who I was in the military with who are on their 3rd or 4th knee surgery that they have to pay for because they never said shit, because they manned up, they were tough. And next thing you know, fucking they're on their 3rd or 4th surgery. They're doing this. They're not getting anything, and they're because they didn't take care of themselves.
Take care of yourselves for real. Make sure you getting all that documentation.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that don't deserve 100%. Got 100%.
Oh.
And a lot of people that need 100%. Can't get it.
Yep. Like
it's a fucked up situation.
And you got to double check to make sure, triple check. Like I have tinnitus. I can't get fuck all from it because when I checked out, they lost my hearing stuff. So like I can't even ask for anything. I have my medical records, and there's nothing in there.
Because you know what's so crazy is, oh well, that's different for me because I've been around generators and machine equipment all my life, so they immediately just said, "Here, give them tinnitus."
Yeah. Well, there's no my physical for my exit. They can't find it. Where they did the hearing, they did all that type of shit. They can't find it. So, and because I've already looked into it, but check your records. We could talk about this for hours, but check your records and make sure that you get the help that you have earned. Same thing with going to, if there's any vet out there who is too prideful not to go to the VA to get disability, you're fucking dumb. You earned it.
You did earn that.
100%.
Yes, you defended
Yeah.
the country, regardless of whatever the fuck you did. You still signed that paper.
Yeah.
Go do what you got to do.
And don't ever let them tell you, well, it doesn't like, it doesn't affect you now or whatever, because the way they rate you from the VA is, this is how good I was before, this is how fucked up I am now, and it's a scale. So just because it's like, well, you know, it doesn't bother you much now. I mean, but you're still different from when you first came in. So absolutely take advantage of that.
100%.
Take advantage. Yeah. But yet again, Tony, thank you for coming and doing this. I learned a lot. I had a good time.
Same, man.
And there is some stuff in the future that I would like to sit down with you and your wife and talk with you guys both about your experience of how the military was being a couple. You know? So,
Of course.
absolutely. It'd be a good time for sure.
No,
but yet
no
again,
doubt.
all of Tony's socials are going to be down somewhere or on the side. I don't know how YouTube works. They're going to be somewhere. They're going to be somewhere. And then, like, Tony doesn't have a regular streaming schedule, so you'll just have to follow Tony to find out when he's doing streaming stuff.
Pop up, baby. Just see when they pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you won't be disappointed. I fucking love hanging out in Tony's streams. He's not the greatest at video games, but he's entertaining.
Fair enough.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. They fucking were running Fortnite yesterday when I was watching. That shit was pretty.
Yeah, actually, probably about to run some Fortnite now.
Yeah.
Might do it. Might shoot some nerds.
Yo, so if you're watching this right now on YouTube, head over to Twitch and check out Tony, because he's probably shooting nerds right now. I don't know.
I'm shooting nerds. Let's go.
So, all right, man. I appreciate you hanging out, taking a little bit of your time to come and chit chat.
No worries, man. Chat. I'm gonna hit you with the be right back screen. I'm go ahead and talk to VOP, and then we're gonna get right back into some nerd shooting. Lola, if you're available, I would appreciate you. Boom. Anybody, Kaz, let's go. I'll be right back, you guys.
Alrighty, guys. All right, and speaking of that as well, I'm about to end this, so I'll be back in a minute. But nope, not that screen. This screen. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Thank you for thank you for Tony for being here. Thank you for the raids. Thank you for everybody chatting. When we do these, I like to talk with the person we're doing, and I'm trying I'm not deliberately trying to ignore you, but we're trying to focus on the person. So, I want to thank everybody for being here. Stay tuned for the next person. I believe we're going to be doing Angelic here soon. I don't know about today or whatnot, but we're going to be doing it with her so we can learn Tony's other half of what they've done in the military and what they continue to do, because they're currently active duty. So, and we're going to be back with some D&D later tonight for those of you who are watching live. So, might have another spotlight later today too. I don't know. But until then, thank you very much for your support. Remember who you are. See you in the next one.